Jai Shri Ganesha, Jai Shri Jagannath. So good evening, everyone. So I want to start off with a small note that I'm very happy that the Supreme Court has finally decided to allow the procession of Lord Jagannath, the great Rath Yatra, which happens every year, and it will be a delight for all the devotees. So initially, it was a dampener when Supreme Court said that it will not allow, but I'm very happy that now it has changed its decision, and it will be a real real occasion of celebration. Now coming back to like today's video. In my last video, I actually spoke about the birth time and its significance, and I'm very happy that some of you who kind of saw the video really were really appreciative of it, and and I would like them to continue seeing these videos which I'm posting, and for everyone to see. Now in today's video, based on the feedback I received, I'm going to talk about the basis of the calculation of birth time, the mathematical reasons and the scientific reasons as to how the birth time is calculated, and how is it related to astrology. Okay, so let's start off with the presentation. Okay, now if you see this diagram, I think everybody, all of you might be knowing that this is the standard astronomical view of our solar system, keeping sun, earth, and moon in consideration. Now here, if you see, as we all know, the earth rotates, so revolves around the sun and rotates in its axis, and the moon revolves around the earth. But here we are talking about a earth-centric view. If you're taking the earth-centric view and you take earth as the center, then it would appear that sun is actually moving around the earth, and whenever the earth is rotating, you would see the sun rising on the horizon and setting away from the horizon. Similarly, the moon rising and moon setting. Now, when and why is the geostationary view important? It is important because, keeping in line with the laws of relativity, which our great scientist Einstein had founded, that everything, the laws of relativity is always taken from the point of reference. So which means, let's say if you are going in a train, and if a train coming from opposite direction is passing you, and then it kind of moves away, you would see it passing, because you are moving forward and it's moving backward, so the relative motion becomes much higher. Similarly, let's say you are so because we are on planet Earth, and the Earth is rotating on its axis, we don't feel ourselves rotating, whereas we see the horizon around us changing all the time. So this is because the point of reference is with Earth. Astrology is based on geostationary system because it is for us. It is for people who are sitting on planet Earth. It is not for people who are sitting on planet Sun. So if you are taking Earth as a reference point and you are drawing this diagram, let me bring my picture. Let me reduce my size of the photo. Yeah, this is better. So if you see, this is how the sky looks like, the geostationary sky, with Earth in the center and it it rotating around its axis, and basically this 360-degree view, and this is the projection, right? I wanted to make you understand that it is projecting on the Z axis, and this is the X and Y axis, and this is on the Z axis, and each of the planets are projected on the sky. So and when Earth is moving in its moving across its orbit, it sees these planets moving as well. So with that, especially sun, right? The sun. Now, to understand this more, and in astrological terms, what we have done is this sky map, this 360-degree sky map projected, is divided into 12 signs of 30 degrees each. I mean, why? Because Earth takes 365 days to complete one revolution. So basically, or rather, 365 days and 4 hours to be precise. But for astrological calculations, to kind of make it simpler, we have taken 30 degrees as one Rashi, and there are 12 Rashis. Now, how have we adjusted 365? Some of the Rashis are bigger, some of the Rashis are shorter. Okay, in that way, it actually covers those 12 Rashis in 1 year, as per astrology. Now, I explained about the Rashis as the division of the sky map. Now, why are the divisions? Each of them is one constellation, and based on this constellation and the planets in that constellation, they get certain behavior, and based on that, the results of that Rashi and that planet shows up. So the Rashis are very, very important, because the Rashis have a certain tattva, or certain ingredient, or certain what you call, I would say, certain intrinsic behavior of that Rashi. Similarly, there are 9 grahas. Now, what is a graha? Anything which moves relative to Earth is a graha. Whereas the Rashis are constellations are static. They don't move relative to Earth. The Earth sees them based on its position changing. Correct? So they don't move. So the Rashis and Nakshatras are pointers, and they are there. And the grahas are moving in this horizon. So there are 9 grahas. Sun, although it is a star, but as you all know, Sun also moves around the Milky Way. It takes some astronomical, I think, a lot of years to complete one revolution. Something in tens of thousands, or maybe lakhs of years. But it travels very fast, and it's also spinning around its center, the core. So, but to us, because it's going so slow relative to us, it appears stationary. However, in the geostationary system, with Earth as the reference point, Sun is also a graha. Similarly, Moon is a graha, although it's a satellite. But with reference to Earth, it moves, so it's a graha. Similarly, all the other planets are grahas. Apart from this, there are 2 other special planets which I have not mentioned here. It is called the south node, the nodes of the moon. So when the moon revolves around Earth, right, it at some points of time, it actually is in a straight line between Sun and the Earth, and those points are the north node and the south node. And this is called Rahu and Ketu. They are not normal planets, they are Chaya Grahas, because they are formed out of the shadow of the earth, of the shadow of the moon and the earth. So therefore they're called Chaya Grahas. Okay. So basically, in case of so so Rahu and Ketu are the ones at the point at which the eclipse happens. So which means that if Sun, Earth and Moon are in a straight line, again I will explain this in another video of mine, that the straight line does not, although they would be always on straight line, because if the Moon was the same orbit as Earth, they'll always be in a straight line on a new moon or a full moon. But that is not the case. It happens on special days because the moon's orbit is tilted, and there are certain calculations around it. But for our understanding, let us assume this is the point or the vulnerable points at which Earth and Sun and Moon are aligned in a geometrical, are like geometrically aligned, and those points are so if the Sun is here and the Moon comes here, then it's kind of the north, basically the north node. And then whereas if the like if the Earth is in this like on the south side and the Sun basically comes here, then it's a south node, right? So that is how you can explain the north node and south node, Rahu and Ketu. Okay. Now let's move on. Now, what are nakshatras? We spoke about sign. Now, each sign is divided into 9 nakshatras. So, if you see, one sign is 30 degrees. So, each nakshatra is 3 degrees and 20 minutes. So, that is how it is. And these are the 27 nakshatras. And nakshatras are the actual pointers of how the planet would behave, because the Rashi is a overall pointer. A Rashi is an overall what you call segment, and inside that segment, each of these smaller segments are nakshatras. So when grahas are inside these nakshatras, and this nakshatra or that nakshatra, they behave differently, and they get different qualities based on the nakshatra. That is why the nakshatras are the ones which are finally used to calculate the position of a birth time. Now let's move on. So these are the basic calculations. I think all of you know. 1 year is 365 days. Earth takes to revolve around the sun. So there are 360 degrees, and as I told you, some of the rashis take like longer to travel. So it's not always 30 days, right? For the sun, it's actually not the sun traveling, but the earth traveling, but it's relative to the sun. So the sun, if you sometimes it takes 30 days, sometimes it's 31 days, sometimes it takes 28 days. So it varies. One rashi is approximately 30 degrees. Sun covers 1 degree every day. So 30 days, one rashi or one sign. This is an approximation again, I told you. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's a little less. Moon takes around 27.3 days, so 27 days and maybe 7 hours to complete one revolution around the Earth. And the combination of the sun and the moon, right, and is actually a tithi, and that is how tithis are calculated. Because the tithis are based on moon, and sun takes the overall month. And as you know, 27.3 days, it starts from let's say point 0, which is a new moon, goes all the way to full moon, so it becomes a shukla paksha, and from 15 it comes back to 0, becomes the Krishna Paksha. Okay. Approximately moon takes 2 days, 6 hours to complete one Rashi or sign. So that is how moon changes signs very fast. Whereas sun changes every 1 month, moon changes 2 days, 6 hours. Okay. Because if you multiply this by 12, you will get this number. Earth takes 24 hours to complete one rotation around itself. So, now this is important. So, Lagna or the rising horizon changes every 2 hours, one Rashi. Now, Earth takes 24 hours. Now we have 12 Rashis. So, for every Rashi, it takes 2 hours. So, your rising sign or on the horizon when the Earth rotates, what the person sees, what we see, or what we get is the rising sign which the Earth would have rotated based on that. So every 2 hours the rising sign changes. Now let's come to the calculation. So birth time is calculated based on Tithi. When Tithi is, and as you said, Tithi is the Tithi of moon, but the moon only says that what was the position of the moon, whether it was full moon, new moon, half moon, that comes from the Tithi. But the month comes from sun. So the sun moves from Mesh to Vrushab to kind of Mithun, Katak, Karkat. So it changes signs. So that Tithi and that sign in which sun is, together they combine the Tithi. And if we're talking about the time, because as I said, the earth 24 hours. So one Tithi could be anywhere in those 24 hours. Correct? The Tithi would span across those 24 hours. Of course, some of the Tithis end earlier, some of the Tithis end later. So let's not worry about that. But what is the real time? So in that case, you also need to take the Lagna into consideration, because what was the rising sign at that point of time or the horizon when the person was born? So together, and the point is decided based on nakshatra, because although the Rashi is wide, right? So, and the ascendant would kind of change every day. Ascendant would kind of the same the same ascendant I would come every day. So to exactly demarcate the time, we take the 1/9 part of the Rashi, which is the nakshatra. So the nakshatra and in which the moon is present, the sun is present, combined with the lagna, together create the birth time. And why? Why these three? Again, the same question I just want to reiterate. Why not other planets? Yes, other planets are important. But these three are the three main representatives of the soul, the mind, and the body, without which we don't exist. So, just as I thought that I'll just put those numbers on this PPT which I was speaking about in the last one. So if you see the probability now this occurrence of a birth is a very, very rare event, because all those grahas sitting in those signs and those nakshatras, signs is still okay. You are getting some 9 zeros after decimal. Here you are getting 12 zeros. So just imagine. So it's a very rare phenomenon. It may not even happen during our lifetime. So, but the closest we can get is by following this rule. That's all I wanted to explain. Thanks for listening, and please stay tuned. Please stay tuned for more videos from Astrolife Mantra, and please subscribe to my channel. Jai Shri Ram.